Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's so nice that you're here this evening with us. And I want to welcome you to the ENLIGHT Global Dialogue. ENLIGHT is a European alliance consisting of 9 universities in Europe testing new activities within education and research and innovation. The countries that are in ENLIGHT are Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Sweden, Spain, Slovakia, and Estonia. And I'm here today from the Netherlands. Just a small reminder, the session will be recorded and it will be published on the ENLIGHT YouTube channel. And this event in particular is about highlighting sustainability issues around the world, share experiences and methodologies for creating sustainability projects. And one of these projects will also be awarded the ENLIGHT Global Citizen Award. The winner will be announced on the ENLIGHT website after the final session on February 7th. And during the session, student organizations will, 5 student organizations will give information on projects promoting sustainability in their communities and campuses. And afterwards, we will do a panel discussion, Q&A between the participants and the audience. So please feel free to post questions in the chat and we will get back to them after everyone has presented their ideas. Then I would like to say something about the student network. I'm here today on behalf or as a part of the student network. From each of the ENLIGHT universities, students and staff come together to develop truly international education. And students come together with these 9 universities in the ENLIGHT student network with the aim of representing students and creating a truly international community. If you've not heard of us yet, please follow us on Instagram and keep up with our events. And with that said, I would like to get started. The first student organization or person is Thomas Adams from the University of Galway, Ireland. And he's going to say something about sustainability in universities, curriculum, and carbon footprint. So I would like to give the floor to Thomas.
Great. Thanks very much, Naomi. And thanks to everyone who is here and listening. I'm going to share a short video that I have which summarizes my PhD project, which is what I am talking about today. So I will just try and share that video now, and then I'll answer any questions happily later on. Okay.
Hi, I'm Thomas Adams, and I'm currently in my 3rd year of a civil engineering PhD here at Moray.
Sorry, I'll actually just pause there to confirm that the video is being shared.
Yes, it works well, thank you.
Great, thanks.
In the University of Galway. My research is focusing on sustainability in universities, and specifically it's trying to create a bit of a toolkit for universities to get to grips with measuring some different aspects of sustainability on their campuses. So the 2 different areas I've been looking at are the curriculum and the carbon footprint. So firstly, on the curriculum project, what we've been doing is we're using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as a framework for sustainability and trying to map the curriculum here at the university against the Sustainable Development Goals. And this way we can come up with a baseline measure of sustainability teaching across the campus and start to identify gaps and opportunities to implement further sustainability related teaching. The other project that I've been working on to do with carbon footprint is specifically looking at the carbon footprint of purchase goods and services on campus. Now, this is an area that large organizations, when they measure their carbon footprint, typically they don't measure purchase goods and services. And that's because there's no real easy framework or methodology to measure this. It's a very difficult area of carbon to capture. And what we've been doing is engaging with our suppliers. So if we understand the carbon footprint of our suppliers, we can understand the impact of our procurement. And unfortunately, a lot of our suppliers also don't have their carbon footprint data. So what we've been doing there is putting on workshops, helping them calculate their carbon footprints, which in turn helps us more accurately understand our carbon footprint. And the overall goal here will be to provide a database of supplier carbon footprints that other universities could then begin to engage with. So overall, these two projects are just trying to provide some tools and methodologies for universities to get to grips with sustainability on their campuses in terms of curriculum and in terms of carbon footprint, with the overall thinking behind these projects being what gets measured gets done.
Okay, so that is the video sums up my two projects. I think the Q&A is at the end, so I'll pass back to Naomi. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for your video. Very interesting. And indeed, if you have any questions for Thomas, please put them in the chat and we will keep track of them. And then I think I'll just move right on with the Concordia Precious Plastic Project from students from Concordia University in Canada. So, yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. We are the Concordia Precious Plastic Project, or CP3, and we're very excited to be with you here today. I'm Sarah, I'm an engineering student.
And I'm Amy. I'm also an engineering student, and we're both from Concordia University in Montreal, Canada. So the CP3, or Concordia Precious Plastic, is tackling plastic waste, which is quite a big problem. So in fact, only 9% of the huge quantity of plastic that's being produced worldwide is actually being recycled. Some of the biggest issues with our current recycling system are the lack of traceability. So we don't know where the plastic that we put in our recycling bin actually ends up, and the limited plastic identification, since not all plastic types are identified and not all of those identified can be recycled.
We also saw this problem within our own university, especially when it came to 3D printing. 3D printing is a great way to prototype and test designs. However, it does create a lot of waste, as you can see here in this video. This waste does not have proper identification, so it will most likely be discarded. Our goal at CP3 is to bring awareness, to reduce plastic waste on campus, to repurpose into new items for our community, to conduct research in a multidisciplinary environment, and to bring awareness about the plastic crisis. Our team is made up of individuals from all faculties working together on diverting plastic waste in the Montreal community.
Our project relates to many of the sustainable development goals. For example, we are making our communities more sustainable by reducing the waste they produce, and we are reducing the impact of our production and consumption systems on the environment. Our project also follows the precious plastic methodology, as our recycling methods are open source and we collaborate with other precious plastic communities. Our space is where we transform plastic waste to give them a new life. We accept different plastic types and waste streams, both from the university and the community, such as plastic food containers from the on-campus kitchen and 3D printing waste. So how does it work? First, to ensure traceability, we weigh all collected plastics and we identify their source. Then we shred the waste, and then we transform these shreds into new products, such as earrings and new 3D printing filaments. Finally, we make sure to identify the plastic type so that they can be recycled again.
Another large aspect of our initiative is to foster multidisciplinary research. We understand that solving a big problem such as plastic waste involves the help from different experts collaborating together. For that reason, we work with students, faculty, and community members from different backgrounds to foster and promote an interdisciplinary collaboration. In the past year, CP3 has worked on the effects of microplastics in the ocean, Bluetooth speakers, and a waste recognition app to identify plastic items and give information about how to properly dispose of it, and much more. Finally, we want to give our community the knowledge and tools to tackle the plastic waste issue on their own. We conduct different events throughout the year with multiple collaborators, both from within our university and outside. For example, Plastic 101 is an event where we show participants how to identify their waste and provide plastic alternatives. We host workshops to show how to recycle plastic into new items, and finally invite experts from industry to discuss the plastic waste crisis. Thank you so much for having us. We're happy that we got to share with you our project. You can follow us at CP3 Concordia on social media and join us in tackling the plastic crisis.
Well, thank you. That was really interesting as well. And yeah, again, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat and then we can ask them afterwards. Then I would like to move on to already number 3 of the evening, and that is sustainability summer schools from students from the University of Gent in Belgium. So I would like to give the floor to you guys.
Hello. I was wondering, should I share my screen myself, or are you going to do that? Sorry, I missed that.
You can share your screen yourself. So if you have a video, please make sure that you tick the box where you optimize for sound as well.
Okay. Oh, this is not. Is it, sorry, I had some problems with the Wi-Fi also. Is it okay that someone else goes and that I make everything ready?
Yeah, of course, sure. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Then we will move on to another group, and that group of students comes from the University of Galway in Ireland, and they're gonna speak about the wasted week.
Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm having a bit of trouble with the Wi-Fi, but I'm just going to share a video that I have prepared, and I'm going to talk a bit about what I showed you afterwards. So this idea is Wasted Week. It was run by the Students' Union, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, please let me know if you can hear the audio. 1 second. So welcome.
Works well, thank you.
Perfect. And I'm from the Students' Union in the University of Galway. I'm the environmental officer, and I'm here to tell you about a campaign I ran to reduce waste on campus. It was called Wasted Week because it seems like a bit of a joke. But basically, it was all about reducing waste.
It does seem that we have some blockage in front of the video. Are there any open windows in front of your video player?
No, but I think I have an idea why that could be. 1 second. So, is it gone now? Welcome to the University of Galway.
Not yet.
Okay. I might. Okay. I might share again. 1 second. It's actually the Zoom dialog window that is the problem, apparently.
And when you share it again, can you check if you can optimize the video for audio as well?
Yeah, I have that there. Oh yeah, and Molly is with me there online, so you'll see her as well in a second. 1 second. Can you see it now? Is that okay?
We still have the blockage, but we can see most. We can see most of the video. Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, I'm just going to try, and hopefully you can see enough to enjoy. And I'm here to tell you about a campaign I ran to reduce waste on campus. It was called Wasted Week because it seems like a bit of a joke. But basically, it was all about reducing waste. We gave out 150 compostable cups. Overall, at our event, we had over 400 students attend. And yeah, we tried to educate them on the waste they produce and how to reduce it.
it's balance, that you, when you fill your plate, you know, that you make sure that you don't have a huge lump of meat, a small bit of potatoes and a little bit of veg. Yeah. What you want is lots of veg, small bit of carbs, medium-sized carbs, and a smaller piece of protein, you know. So
this is a disposable cup. It can only be used one time, and then it goes straight in the bin. And we have millions thrown out each year in Ireland. And instead, what I would recommend is a keep cup. This one's from our union, and I've been using it for 2 years, and it's one product instead of millions. So make the change today and reduce your waste. Yeah, so I hope you could see the majority of that. But I'm just going to try and explain what the whole idea was behind it. So in the Students' Union, I'm the sustainability officer, and there's loads of volunteers. And we were thinking, what's kind of the number one issue that we have in Ireland on campus? And we looked a bit into it, looked at the numbers, and Irish households produce way more waste than many other households. So we thought, how can we improve this, especially for students coming in, you know, starting a new life, learning how to meal prep, how to cook, all these things. So we decided, let's talk about waste and how we can reduce it. And during our campaign, it was 5 days of a week, and we addressed different topics. We addressed emissions, so waste of emissions. So we had a bike workshop where over 40 bikes got fixed by mechanics, and they also explained to students, you know, how can you make small changes that will just elongate the life of your bike. We gave out all these compostable cups. We worked with many societies on upcycle, arts and crafts, on anti-food waste, on plant-based diets, you know, reduce the waste of resources. And also we did workshops on vape disposal, since, you know, the younger generation has a huge issue with vapes, and many people don't even realize that there's a battery in every single one of those disposable vapes. So we thought, you know what, we'll show them how to take them apart safely. That video is on our Instagram and has, I think, over 7,000 views now. So yeah, we ran basically a hybrid campaign for a week. And at the end of the week, we did a beach cleanup here in our wonderful, wonderful Galway. But we sadly had to cancel due to a storm, but we repeated it after in much better weather. So it was really great to see so many students engaged. And I think Molly is here with me. She might be in a car, but yeah, Molly is one of the volunteers who helped out in, for example, the bike workshop and the vapes and so on. So yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know by the end of this little session here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, again, very nice. And indeed, questions, just put them in the chat. Then next we will move on to number 4. The students are coming from the Ibero-Americana University in Mexico City, and they're going to speak about adopting a tree and planting it. So I would like to give the floor to these students.
Okay, we're going to share a presentation. Let me just wait. Do you
no
pantalla?
So can you see our screen?
Can you listen to us?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Yes, so we are students from the University Iberoamericana. We are studying international relations, and we're going to present you how to adopt a tree and plant it.
Well, to start, this project is mainly based on this theoretical framework that's shifting from sustainability to regeneration from Bill Reed. That this theory, what mainly consists in, is that we as human race should aim not only to a sustainable system, but to a regenerative one, where the relations of domination that work as a paradigm for all our relations as with the nature and with other human beings can be changed to a co-evolution of the whole system, where we change to relationships that are substituted by care and participating as nature. From this, it's where a project that is mainly driven by these three questions is born. These three questions are: which are the environmental services that trees provide? Which are the most up-to-date scientific findings in the study and evaluation of trees? And the most important part of all, how can we as a community contribute to reforestation?
So this is a presentation that our professor made for the project.
And this is like the basis of the project we have, because the idea is to unite this theoretical framework with practice. So first of all, the idea is that in classrooms, that would be in the class that is shared as that for all the students of the university from all the areas of study is shared. And the first part of the project would be to recognize what's the paper or the role of trees in our environment. And then by recognizing this, then it'll be important to know what are the damages of deforestation and how can we as a community like have a role in this. So by learning this theory with some of these objectives and like our areas of study, the next step for this project would be to
search for trees that could grow properly here in Mexico City. And one of the situations of Mexico City is that its geographical location is very high. So for the trees to grow properly, they need to have some characteristics. And so we did a research to find the trees that could grow properly here. And we found out that there were jacarandas, magnolia, lemon cedar, and between other ones that could grow here. And so for our class, we bought 3 trees. There were 2 lemon cedars and 1 jacaranda. And we decided to plant them, yes. After getting the trees, we were going to we first looked at some examples of how to make it and what were all the steps that we needed to do to plant them. All the digging the hole, putting some compost, some rooter, so that to take care of the tree so that it could grow.
And I don't know what's happening with the pictures, but the presentation would be better understood if they could be seen. But this reforestation program, this reforestation program was made in groups of 6 students that contributed, like adopting a tree, planting it, and then having to take care of their growth. So the idea we have for this project, that is a newborn baby, is to the idea it would be to expand this project so that this project could be implemented in a class that's shared by the 3 bachelor's and engineering degrees that are in our campus. So people from different parts of like the university and from different bachelor's and engineering degrees can relate in a community where they would be responsible of knowing what's the role of trees in the environment, then knowing the danger of deforestation on our city and on our country. And then after that, being compromised to plant a tree and take care of it during the rest of their like course in this university. And that's why the idea would be to implement it in first semester students. So our goal to reach is like 1,500 students each year. And we could do this by the support of the university that recently changed its study plan to one that has 3 cross-cutting themes that make up this plan. Sustainability is one of them, among interculturality and gender perspective. So we're aiming to get this support from the institution. And
yes, these organizations are called Cambio, which is for the environment, I think. UMA, which is for the gender problems, and Mexico Joven for all the themes of inclusion. So yes, we are aiming to have the support from these institutions, but also from the university, with this program being implemented on the first semester students, so we can build like a relationship between the nature and the students.
Yeah, so after getting the support from these student organizations to like make some pressure to the institution, we plan to make this project a work, and that's what we are like looking for, this kind of spaces of dialogue so we can learn from all the projects you're talking about. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. And then we will move on to the last project of this evening, which is the Sustainability Summer Schools by students from the University of Gent. So yeah, you guys can take the floor.
Okay, thank you. Also, thank you for the wait. I'm now going to share my screen. Do you all see it well?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, perfect. Well, I would first like to introduce myself. I'm Jet Wintering, and I was responsible for the Sustainability Summer Schools last year. And I'm also giving this presentation in the name of Karel Proot and Aiden Soubry, who are also in the meeting and will be very happy to answer the questions afterwards. And yeah, so that's us who are responsible for the Sustainability Summer Schools. And I'll very quickly first explain you what the Sustainability Summer Schools are about. It's a one-week event in the beginning of the academic year that focuses on social, ecological, sustainable topics. And at the Ghent University, and we actually organized this summer school because we at the moment we see that these topics are not enough mentioned or treated during the degrees and curricula that you can follow at the Ghent University. And that's why we want to teach and inform students more about the social ecological topics via lectures, workshops, excursions, and that's what we do during these summer schools. First, I think it's good to know very quickly what the Green Office is, what it is. It's like it's the sustainable office of the Ghent University, and we with a team of staff, students and volunteers, we work towards a sustainability university by setting up experiments and projects, and also by forming a meeting place for committed students who want to organize other things about sustainability at the university. And that's how we want to build together towards an ecological and socially justice university. So we are working on all these different projects, and one of the projects was the Sustainability Summer Schools. And we have already organized several summer schools now, and then I'll go to the next slide. I apologize. And we have already organized one summer school about specifically climate. This was was organized for the first time in 2019. And as I said, it's taken place 3 times now already. And in the same week, we organized this year for the first time a summer school about the topic degrowth. And the climate and the degrowth summer school also had some overlap, because we saw that there's some topics that we can introduce in both summer schools. And then apart from that, the animal welfare summer school has taken place for the 2nd time this year. And that's actually organized completely by the organization Dierzaam, but the Green Office still supports this summer school too. So and actually the main goal of the summer schools is to offer an interdisciplinary student-led critical and engaged education outside of the curriculum, because as I already said, we don't see it enough at the moment. So that students can learn about social ecological issues during this week. And apart from that, we also focus on more like on the fact that that it's very important that we offer a special learning procedure. And that's why by this slide I would like to show you how we do, for example, a lecture of 1 hour, and after that we make time for 20 minutes questions and answers, and then 20 minutes discussion with the students without the lecture, so that the students are not only listening to the teacher, but that they also learn from one another, and that that there is enough time to for critical thinking. And this was actually especially the last edition that we focused more on that aspect too, because we believe that students can also learn more from one another and not only from the professor. And it's also the summer schools actually are also a way to offer a kind of alternative way of learning by workshops, excursions, and talking with professionals during speed dates, which we don't see at the moment enough in the university. So we also focus on that perspective, like how can you learn in a different way. And then for next year, we also already have some other summer schools planned, another climate edition for the 4th time. And then the animal welfare edition is also going to take place for the 3rd time. And then for the first time, we also want to organize a summer school about diversity and inclusion. And the 2 other organizations that will be connected to these summer schools is again the Dierzaam organization, who is responsible for the animal welfare summer school, and then Durf Divers Denken, which means in English Dare to Think Diverse, is also an organization at the Ghent University, a platform who is working on a more inclusive and safer space at the university for students with, for example, a migration background, and they will be helping with the 1st edition of the diversity and inclusion summer school. So that's what we've planned the coming year, and then that we are very excited about this and about what will come next. We are still thinking a bit like how do we want to what topics do we want to discuss, for example, during the climate edition, because it's a very broad topic. And we are very happy to answer your questions in a bit. Also, my colleagues Karel and Aiden will I will also give the word to them. So thank you all for your attention, and we are happy to answer your questions in a bit.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I think it's time to move on to the discussion Q&A part. And for that, I think I will give the word to my colleague Adnan.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank all of you for sending so many questions in the chat, as well as links to your projects and the social media. We have received quite a bit of questions, so I'll maybe go through them one by one. And the first question that I have is indeed a question to the Carbon Footprint Project. Michelle asks, how has the carbon footprint project been of benefit to the University of Galway, and how will the curriculum project benefit academic staff in the university?
Okay, yeah, so I guess the carbon footprint project, the kind of goal of that was to highlight what are called scope 3 emissions. I'll try not to get too technical, but basically there's 3 different areas of emissions in a carbon footprint. The first 2 are basically just your heating bill and your electricity bill, and then all of their emissions fall under this other category. And most organizations don't measure that. So that was kind of the premise of the project, was to go in and look at those emissions. And then we found out that those emissions are like more than 3/4 of the whole carbon footprint. So in that way, I think it's been useful for the university that that was highlighted, that this other category of emissions is there and it's important. And actually, there's been a follow-on kind of action from that, I suppose, which is the financial department of the university have got some funding to implement like a carbon tracking thing when you're purchasing stuff through the university. So that's like a direct outcome, I suppose, from my project, is that people will now be aware of how much carbon stuff is when they're buying them in future. And then the second question, the curriculum project, how has it been a benefit to academic staff? I guess the whole point of that project was to create this tool which with very little effort, lecturers and module owners can understand if their module contributes to any of the SDGs. So in that way, so far we've kind of just focused on the School of Engineering, but we plan to go across the whole university and try and do like a cross-institution scan to show where the SDGs lie across the whole curriculum. And then academic staff, the benefit of them is that they can go in and see first of all if they think it's right. Maybe my tool isn't right, and they can then reflect on whether or not the SDGs might be already or could be further implemented in their modules.
Okay, thank you indeed for the quite extensive answer, but also keeping it quite simple that it did not become too technical. I do have a follow-up question, which I read in the chat, is did you encounter any problems with inconsistencies between data when it comes to carbon emission calculations, and how did you deal with those?
Yeah, I'd say definitely we did, and that has kind of ended up being the goal of the project. Getting emissions from our suppliers is basically been impossible. Only one of our suppliers has had life cycle assessments done of their products, which is like the ideal, where a supplier can just tell you exactly a number of carbon is assigned to this laptop that you're buying or whatever it is. But only one of our hundreds of suppliers had that. Most of our suppliers don't have it at all. So in the meantime, we've done kind of a global average calculation for sectors of suppliers, which is kind of an inaccurate way of doing it, but it allows us to have an idea of the carbon. And then the next stage of the project, as I was saying, is to engage with our suppliers and help them actually calculate their carbon footprint. Like we're going to host a workshop on how to calculate your carbon footprint, so that hopefully by the end of it, a list of our suppliers have some data that we know is a bit more accurate than we have been using, which will help us understand our impact as well.
Okay, very interesting. So then indeed, maybe until now it has not been that accurate yet as you might have wanted, but hopefully in the future will become more and more accurate.
Exactly, yeah, that's the goal.
Then I also saw some questions for CP3, the students from Concordia. Can you maybe say something about what the quality of the plastic waste do you process through the CPS project, and what is the purpose of the material, and where does the processed material go?
I think it was the quantity of the plastic that was asked. So we regularly get plastic in. Up till now, our data shows that we have processed about like 100 kilos of plastic from different sources. So I think it was a lot of it was for HDPE for example, I think that was mainly from the kitchen, that the on-campus kitchen. So they have a lot of how to say, containers. So like vinegar container, oil container, and then we wash it, and so it goes into like and shred it. And so the output is really anything that like we have different projects where we repurpose it into, so earrings like this one. We have coasters. I think I have one here. And also like different student projects. So students can just come up to our team and say, oh, well, I would like to work on this. Or, oh, I see that you work with recycled plastics. So we're like, there has been people who are asking for like, oh, maybe we can try to make a make a flower pots out of recycled plastic. So we have had projects with that. There was like the project, for example, of the speakers made out of recycled plastics. So the materials go into all these different types of projects.
Okay, interesting. And do you notice that more and more students are getting engaged and are becoming interested, or do you actively need to get more students engaged?
That's also a great question. It's a bit of both. So I think to best answer the question is to go back a bit. Our project started right before the pandemic. So how we engage students during the pandemic is very different about how we engage students now. So at the time, we were doing a lot of online webinars where around 50 to 100 students would participate in discussions and learn more about plastic waste streams. But now, being back on campus, we focus more on workshops to show students how to transform, how to make earrings, how to make coasters, or develop other projects that they want to do. The other way we engage students is if they volunteer with CP3, they do get volunteer credit with our university, and they also sort of get this opportunity to work with different students from different faculties, which is not always a possibility otherwise if they're always doing student projects or academic projects. So we really sort of create a collaborative environment where students can work together and support each other. And I think the other question was, how do we upscale for the future? So we want to continue this momentum. So yes, at times there is difficulty to engage students. We all have midterms, we all have finals, we all get very busy. So we want to sort of engage students by being more involved in the student curriculum and having specific projects or labs that can be done at our space. So, you know, a week of students coming into our space for a specific project can also engage and give them the opportunity to learn more about plastic waste and what we do at Concordia.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you indeed already directly took the second question, which is amazing. So thank you for that. I'm taking a look at the chat. A follow-up question for the students of Concordia. What are the volunteer credits actually?
Yes, sorry, I should have elaborated. So at Concordia, we have something called like a student engagement volunteer credit. It's called a co-curricular record. So students can basically apply for these co-curricular records or add them, and Concordia makes like a separate document, and it lists all the student initiatives or projects that you were a part of. So we are a part of that database, and students can say, I did this and this at Concordia, and it's something that they can provide to future job opportunities or other schools if they want to continue their education. It is like recognized by the university.
Yeah, that clears things up, especially for maybe other universities that do not have similar databases. Then I'll jump to the Waste Week project. I think that is from students of Galway, indeed. Can you maybe tell us about what did students find the most engaging during the Waste Week, and how did you involve the wider student community?
Yeah, so usually sorry, can you hear me okay? I know my Wi-Fi is not great.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Awesome. So usually at the events we run before and after Waste Week, you'd usually see the same 20 to 30 people, and they'd be also the ones that then volunteer with Wasted Week. So we try to really, with Wasted Week, engage students who wouldn't usually be interested in sustainability. So some of the events, one, for example, the bike fixing workshop, that was hugely popular. I think we were booked out of spaces. We could take 40 bikes or 50. No, we opened it up to 70 students. We were booked out, I think, after 2 or 3 days because they all wanted their bikes fixed for free, you know, and that was obviously people who maybe enjoy cycling, but maybe not for sustainability reasons. Another huge event was the vegan dinner. We had so we had loads of food there from the vegan society that we collaborated with. But since we did it in a very open spot to students, anyone that wasn't as open space, it's called the Hub. It's kind of a very central spot on campus. Loads of people came by because they were like, oh, free food. And then we'd kind of talk to them and say, hey, you know, do you like this? Why do you like this? How can you maybe reduce meat in your own diet? And we actually had so many people come that we ran out of food and we had to order more vegan food because we ran out of vegan food because people liked it so much. So that was very successful. And then for the upcycle arts and crafts, I think we had 40 to 50 people there, and we collaborated with 3 societies, Granny Sock, Neurodivergent Sock, and Art Sock. So none of these 3 is necessarily, you know, has sustainability as their like main target, main value. But because we focus on kind of an interest and try to combine interests, you have this interest, how do we make that sustainable? We had great success with that as well. My personal favorite to engage with wider student community is sit along kind of a path where loads of students cross every day, like in front of the cafeteria or something, and just have like a little quiz out that say, oh, vouchers to be won. And then people come up and say, hey, what's going on here? And you can either talk to them, play a little sustainability game with them, but that way you really get to talk to a lot of students that usually wouldn't really turn up to events. So a combination of all these worked very well for us.
Well, thank you very much. And it's always happy to hear that events have become so popular, more than you expected.
Exactly.
I see a follow-up question in the chat, which also came up in me, and that is, what is actually a granny sock?
Oh, it's Grandma Society. So they do like knitting and stuff. I think we have over 100 or 120 societies. So we have everything from Granny Sock to Doctor Who sock to, I'm trying to think of the most random ones we have, but there's a lot of opportunities there. So, but they're amazing. We have Slug Society, so they're the newest member, I think.
Okay, that explains. Maybe another question is, well, you have a beautiful audience here today, and you talked about, well, we try to teach people on how to reduce waste. Is there one tip you would try to give to the audience here today on actually reducing the waste that you saw? Well, that was really, really useful when we taught those, when we taught that.
I'd say for us, it was definitely meal planning, because it doesn't only reduce food waste, but also the plastic waste, because most food is packed in plastic, or at least some kind of material that is usually very hard to recycle. So you can get 2 targets by just, if you meal plan, and at the beginning of the week, you save yourself money, number 1, which is very important for students. You save food. You can eat probably more healthy if you know what you're going to have for the week. Just have a few options ready, and you reduce packaging waste as well. And once you kind of pay attention to what you eat, a lot kind of follows along. So that was very, very successful. So we share tips of that on social media still. So I'd say that's a huge one.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I think I'll definitely take that along, and I think hopefully the rest too. I also saw some questions for the summer school. If I remember correctly, that was the students from Belgium, from Gent. Could you maybe tell us something about the amount of participants in the summer school? How many staff and students are involved?
Yeah, so we have around 50 students that attend per edition. So over the past 4 editions, we've had around 200 students attending. And to follow up, the program of the summer school is indeed developed by and for students. So in that sense, it is student-led. And of course, this is done in collaboration with professors, academics, and other educational professionals. And then just to end with the third question, it is indeed free of charge. So this is great quality we have. And not only is the education free, also the great food is free. So this is really a point that all attendants really enjoy a lot. And then Aiden can maybe expand on the animal welfare summer school, which is structured a little bit differently.
Yeah, so for our edition, there was, oh, everyone can hear me okay? For the animal welfare edition, we had in the first edition about 30 people, no, good 20 people, and the last edition was 30, and now we're aiming at about 25. So it's a whole bunch of people for a lot of lectures and a lot of activities to do. I saw a question about the how many students and staff are involved in organizing. For the first edition, there were 5 people. And for the last one, we had many more helping us organize, but we had a bit of a too many chefs in the kitchen type of situation. Since everything is volunteer based, it's always good to have help, but it can get very messy very quickly. So we tried to sort of meet in the middle somewhere for this time around. So we have 6 people that are organizing it, with 2 coordinators, me and my roommate, and then 4 people who are responsible for either the lectures or the workshops, and then 1 for catering and 1 for the promo. And then we also have a lot of, we call them minions, who help us with promo and with contacting lecturers and providing input, because we tend to, or we try to at least provide a very wide selection of lectures with a whole bunch of broad topics. And just like in climate issues, the animal welfare issues can also tend to get very broad and very specific and very niche. So we try to find a balance somewhere, and so we try to gather input from either the the veterinarian school, from their professors, and then from biology, and then psychology, and just very multidisciplinary to find a good balance. Yeah. And since the Animal Welfare Summer School is also sponsored mainly by the Green Office of the University of Gent, we also have a lot of vegan food, which is always very much appreciated. And it's always free for all the students, and it tends to make everyone happy, free food. So there we go.
Can I still add something quick to that?
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, as Karel already said, it's free for everyone. So if you're interested, last time we also organized this sustainability summer school for the first time in English. So it's actually, it was also the first time that it was accessible for everyone instead of only Ghent University students. So if you're interested, you can really keep the websites. Yeah, look at the website, maybe you might be interested for next year's edition. And it's only, the only thing that we ask is to write a motivation letter, but usually, yeah, everyone is welcome apart from writing the motivation letter. So yeah, keep that in mind. Some advertising here.
Yes, thank you very much. Maybe I think if you did not do that, just maybe you can indeed post a link in the chat. Then
yeah,
people can
I sent
check
it
it out.
here, like the sustainability summer school. I think
yeah.
around April or May, the application is opened and you can send in a motivation letter.
Yeah. Well, then we can keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Then I also still had some questions for Zoe and Nicholas from Mexico City. You told us something about that it is difficult to grow trees in your region. And maybe this is a little bit of a technical question, but why is it indeed so difficult to grow trees in that region?
Hey, I don't think it is that difficult to plant trees on a region. I don't know, we got to like send that message, but what we were talking about is that before planting a tree, it's necessary to investigate what are the characteristics of the zone. So then the trees will grow easier and like with the care they need. And answering to other question that we're yeah, whatever.
I'm gonna say like also we can talk about the olives that only grow in the level of the sea. So trying to grow olives in Mexico City is pretty hard because yes, it doesn't have the characteristics that it needs.
But the reality is that Mexico has a real like friendly climate for all the agriculture, because it's like there are no like extreme climates. It's not or that cold or that hot. It's like a medium point where growing trees is not that hard. And also answering to the other question that's on the chat that says, if we see a possibility on scaling the project, I think we do, because I think that as we have been like learning from the conversation we've been having with the authorities of our institution, we can aim to the support from the university. So I think that with that support, and also with the support we're looking for in the student organizations, the implementation of this program in the plan of studies of the campus can be possible.
Yes, and we're looking like for a possible goal. We're aiming for having our university to have this, but I don't know, in a possible future, we could see our campus could look to make like the whole city commit to this project. I don't know.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And thank you indeed for clarifying that it's not particularly difficult to grow trees, but that you need trees with the right characteristics. So, and I indeed hope that upscaling would work. What advice would you maybe have to other universities that want to do similar deforestation projects? Is there any advice you would give to students who would want to do something similar?
I think one advice that we could give is to unite the theory with practice. And first of all, before having a project similar to begin, to be conscious and make conscious about the real importance of trees, as is the first part of our project, and also what are the dangers of deforestation. And that's why we appeal to share this theoretical framework that appeals to the regeneration system far from the sustainable one. So I think that uniting theory to practice could be our advice.
Okay, very clear message indeed. Do not just go do something, but indeed first really look at the theory. In the meantime, I'm also looking at the time. I think we had scheduled till 8 o'clock. So I think I should give the word back to Naomi. I cannot hear you, Naomi, but I'm not sure whether I'm the only one.
Seems that Naomi may have some trouble with the connection.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, great. I fixed it. But I said thank you for all the questions and all the presentations. Thank you to all the students for being here. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was very interesting. This was the last session. So yeah, the judges will get together and yeah, we will point out a winner, but I think that everyone did a great job. And yeah, that's everything I wanted to say. Have a nice evening.